Hi friends, hello! I have had so many people ask how I created my ombre walls, and I want to share that information. So I made a tutorial, my first YouTube video ever. Never done this before, so bear with me. I had to steal my husband's headset that he uses for gaming because I could not get the sound quality that I wanted earlier. So we'll learn together on this, but I wanted to show in a little bit more detail what I did, how I did it, what worked, what didn't. And this video is going to focus on my green ombre wall. I do have a blue one, and I'll do another tutorial on that one as well. So you can kind of decide if you like one better over the other, how it works best for you. And if you like this content, it would help me out so much if you subscribe, liked, commented, any questions you had. That will help keep the momentum going so I can keep doing this. So thanks so much, guys. Hi friends. Okay, here we go. So one of the things I wish I had done better for my green ombre wall that I did do on my blue ombre wall is tape off the trim. If you're great at cutting in, that's awesome. But you can see down there at the bottom of below my ladder that I just kind of have the floor protected. And there was quite a bit of splatter that I still need to touch up and I still need to do. So I definitely recommend taping your drop cloth up under your edge tape for your trim. And I've always had trouble with it bleeding through. I don't know if you guys have, but what I found has worked really well for me is, at least this last time around, I just discovered this, is I'll take the paint key that you open up the paint cans with, I'll take the handle, because it's kind of curved, the way the caulking is on the trim, and I'll run it along the tape to give it a really good seal, and that made a world of difference. Highly recommend it. So what I'm doing here is I measured between my crown molding and my floor trim. You definitely want to measure between those two instead of the floor to ceiling, because it'll definitely affect your math. So you take that measurement and you divide it by 4. I don't know how much it was, but I think each stripe ended up being roughly 2 feet. That makes sense for 8 feet. So I did that, and then I just did tick marks along the wall. It ended up being 3 tick marks, creating 4 stripes. And the thing I wish I had done a bit differently is giving myself some more space on my upper and lower stripes. I painted them a little too close to the tick mark, and it made them bigger than the middle 2 stripes. And as you see, I am painting my swatches from the cans because Lowe's and Sherwin have a paint shortage, and I just had to buy what I could and go with my gut. And the greens I chose, I did use Lowe's paint samples that give you the 4 colors, and I made sure I chose my greens all from one, so I knew they worked well together. They're all in the same family, and that definitely helped make my decision. And I just held them up to the Black Magic. I've always loved that paint color. So I just held it up to that, and I just painted them on my wall real quick to make sure it worked, and that didn't look terrible. So that's what you're seeing here. I also had to lock my cat up in his room because he tried to attack the paint. And you can see his little tiny paw print on the wall there. So for the majority of this, he was up in his room. But so here are the samples. Again, I have the darkest green is Bucolic green, the black is Black Magic, and oh, this is so professional. Here we go. And okay, so the top lightest color is Composed Teal, and then I skipped the second one down, which I have in a TikTok, and then the middle green is Cloverfields, and like I said, the darkest Bucolic green. So I'll also put those colors in the description, and I got them from Sherwin and matte. I just like matte paint better than any kind of shiny. So here I am painting all my samples, and I would recommend, if you're doing this for the first time, paint from the top down, not from the bottom up like I did, because I was constantly concerned about touching the wet paint on the walls. That may be obvious to anybody else. Okay, and then I'll skip over here in just a second. You don't need to see me paint all the stripes. Those are on TikTok. If you want the time lapse, please go check those out. But here I'm kind of focusing on the blending. So I saw on a YouTube video before I started all this to dip your paint in both colors as you're blending. I didn't like that. It didn't work for me. I do try it, and I do use this as a way to apply the paint to the wall for the most part, but I didn't love it. I felt like it just created a third color as opposed to a blend, and I really wanted that even fade through the colors, and I felt like I was just creating another stripe. So I do try it for a little while. You can see it's on here, and my cat's helping again, but I really start using the rag more just to try and get that blend color. I used a microfiber rag for this time, but I wouldn't recommend it. They don't wet very well, they don't hold moisture very well, they repel it. So cotton rags, I just got the big pack that you pay by the pound. They're like 4-pound bags from Lowe's. I would just recommend getting those. They hold on to moisture. You don't need to worry about washing them. I just ended up throwing my microfiber rags away because I didn't want to bother trying to get all this paint out of them. So here I am, just kind of blending around a little bit and edging. I did go back with the agreeable gray and I touched up around the edges because paint gets everywhere. It does. I still need to touch up the trim. Haven't done that yet. I'll do it eventually. But I did go back the next day and I did touch it up a little bit. I blended some more because I wanted something more mixed. But here we go. So that's the first stripe done. That you can see I'm going to come back here and paint some of the lighter green back up at the top again because like I said, it just kind of darkened it. It didn't do a nice mixture, and I think if I added more water, it would be better in the future. And there's my cat being helpful again. So, oh, another thing, I would also recommend a higher quality brush. I'm using super cheap brushes for this. I would definitely recommend a higher quality brush. It helps so much. And if you want a roller that's great, I like the textures. I was going for like a foggy, cloudy scene for this and like a stormy sea for the other one. So I was really going for those textures. But by all means, use a roller, use a foam roller, use a sponge to blend them in together. I haven't tried a sponge yet. I want to do that. I might do that for my next project. I do have at least 2 more ombre walls planned for my house. I may be obsessed with it, but that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not hurting anybody. I think in the immortal words of Jennifer Lawrence. So I'm gonna follow her. I enjoy it. It makes my house pretty, and so we'll keep learning on how to do this best. So stay tuned. Okay, so here is my next stripe. And I'm going to start blending the next few greens. Again, I'm just kind of using the brush in this point to get the paint on the wall. And then I use the wet rags to mix them in. And I just, my husband always says when you're cooking, measure with your heart. Measure with your heart. Like, you want more of one color, add it in there. You want more of another color, do that. You want to water it down and make it blend better, get that spray gun out, man. It'll be okay. It's just paint. You can paint over it. And I think I've said this, sorry if I'm repeating myself. I did go back and touch up the wall the next day because I wanted more of a blend and less of a choppy, like 5-line ombre, because that's what I wanted. It's your house, guys. You can do whatever you want. It makes you happy. So that's what I did here. Okay. So I'm gonna pause here or show you guys. This is the dark black magic, and bucolic green I'm blending together. These darker colors are hard. At least they were harder for me because they blend better, especially when they're wet. You can't see much of a difference. So I did not know if I was getting enough green in there. And I think I went back the next day and added some more dark green to it because the black kind of took over. It was a bigger stripe. Like I said at the beginning, I painted up to that tick mark that I drew. Don't do that. Give yourself some space to blend. That way you don't have a giant or a bigger stripe than any of the other stripes. And I start more heavily relying on my rag here, except for edging. I do still edge by the trim, and there's Nico still trying to attack the paintbrush because he wants to defend me against the paintbrush, I guess. I don't know. But so I'm just using it to edge. I wish I had taped here. My line is still a little meh, but I'm the shortest one in my family. Nobody sees it but me. I'm 4'11". Everybody else is too tall to see it, so I'm just gonna leave it be. And let me know at this point. It's like, guys, leave it in the comments. Like, 14 minutes is too long for a tutorial. Okay, and I'm gonna hush now so that we can listen to my husband, because we live for the hype. We live for it. So I got his reaction, which I love that I did that. I think I'm gonna do it for all of our projects from now on, just to record the hype.
Wow, this is crazy. It's so good.
Okay, and here's the finished product. This is what it looks like with all my picture frames on it. I think I'm gonna leave, or I'm gonna switch out some of the wedding photos. I have some color ones in there, which while I love, it doesn't work with the green, so I'm gonna switch them out for black and white eventually. And I hope this tutorial helped without being too long. Leave some comments, let me know if you want something shorter, longer, more details, if I left something out. Love the feedback, welcome the interaction, and like I said, help me keep this going. Hit that subscribe button, like the video, and I'll keep these going and see how much I can help you guys out. Thanks so much.